What's up, guys? Today I'm just gonna do a workout, kind of a casual workout. I already trained today, but I thought I might as well just record a video and casually chat to you while I move my body a bit, right? Because I built out this beautiful studio, right, with a nice Swedish ladder, and it's just like, honestly, I don't use it enough. My elbow hurts, so that I'm not locking out. But today I want to talk about what got me started in the gym, and kind of, I've been in the gym for 10 years now. It's a huge part of my story and my transformation process. And I want to share this story with you guys because I want it to inspire somebody and to help somebody who might relate to this. Long story short, I was a very insecure kid. I got started in the gym. Why? You can probably guess why. Trying to attract women. Try to attract women. Maybe if I face track, I don't have to constantly manage this. But what got me started in the gym was because I grew up as a very, not only shy, but also just socially awkward, socially anxious, couldn't make eye contact with girls kind of thing. So basically, I was blocked. I was blocked emotionally, I was blocked psychologically, I was blocked spiritually, and I was blocked physically. Everything about my existence was blocked. I felt small. Okay, I felt small, period. I felt like I was insignificant. I felt like everybody looked down on me. And because I felt that way about myself, the world would also reflect that. Now, I am in one sense making this for a past version of myself, but also in another sense making this because I believe that the human experience is actually pretty universal. And although me and you may come from very different places, I believe that at the end of the day, we really want the same things, even if we say we want different things. What we really want is a similar thing. And when you really think about it, all that life is a game of how do you get from where you are to where you want to go. And that becomes the entire journey of life, right? Constantly figuring out this game of how do I get from where I am now to where I want to go? Because we are not living in the world that we want to live in. Or at least that's what we think. We think that our life right now isn't good enough because, well, let's say I'm not fit enough yet. I don't have enough money yet. I don't have the relationship I want yet. I don't have the house I want yet. I don't have the car I want yet. I don't have the happiness I want yet, the peace I want yet, right? And from the root of our desire, we externalize our desire onto objects. But take note of the fact that your desire, before you place it on any object, like what is that? That desire in its purity before being externalized. It is an entirely internal feeling. Now, the yearning arises when that internal feeling, when we project it outwards onto something outside, whether that's, getting into a certain shape or it's a certain person, it's a certain academic achievement, certain career achievement, certain financial achievement. When we externalize that, I'm trying to think what exercise to do. I'm just going to do very casually, just do whole body. when we externalize that, what we're doing is that we're basically placing our attention from within ourselves to outside of ourselves. And it can become a little bit dangerous, let's say, for our happiness, because when we start to externalize our happiness, our sense of, wealth, our sense of success, our sense of freedom, our sense of love, when we externalize that into a person or a thing or a number, when we externalize that into a number, it becomes dangerous spiritually. Now, what I mean by that is we can lose ourselves in our desires, right? Hedonism is the perfect example. It's the easiest example of losing ourselves in our desires, because you start to associate a craving. You start to associate the achievement of a desire with satiation of the craving. But that keeps you in a loop. It keeps you in a loop because every time you get it, now you're chasing the next thing. The thing that you worked so hard for, once you get it, it could be a cheap pleasure too, right? Cheap pleasures and expensive pleasures, let's say, work the same in the sense that when you complete the loop, it starts all over again. Just like, life, your day is 24 hours, it's a clock. 12, 6, right? The clock goes from 12, back to 12, back to 12, back to 12. It's a never-ending loop. Where we get caught up inside this loop is when we think that when we get to 12, when we get to the finish line, which ironically is where we started, that when we get to the finish line, somehow it'll make us happier. Somehow life is supposed to be better. Somehow I'll finally be rich. I'll finally be in love. I'll finally be free. But if you've done some inner work on yourself, you realize this pattern repeats in your life again and again until you develop the awareness that it's waking you up to something. You'll distract yourself with shallow things, and then you'll distract yourself with deeper things until one day you cannot distract yourself any longer. And that's when you stop hiding. That's when you realize you cannot hide. You cannot hide from the existential unhappiness. Because each time you complete another loop, it just starts all over again. You're like, what the fuck, man? I thought making this amount of money, I thought achieving this body, I thought getting into that relationship would solve my yearning. And it did solve your yearning, but then it just got replaced with a deeper one. You see, it's like an onion. You keep peeling back the layers deeper and deeper and deeper until it gets to the point where not even the most extravagant things, the most luxurious things can satiate you anymore. And that's how kind of you end up as, the elites who worship Satan. Why do you get there? Because you've taken hedonism, you've taken the wheel of suffering, you've taken this loop to the ultimate extreme. Right? Imagine you have all the wealth in the world. So you have all the girls at your fingertips, right? Let's say you can go to an island and satisfy your most perverted and kinked forms of sexual pleasure. All right, you have access to the most luxurious food in the world. All your friends are billionaires. it should be heaven on earth. Except why is it not? Why is it that instead of being heaven on earth, I would actually say that is the definition of being in hell? It's because you worshipped, I'll put it this way, it's because you worship the flesh and not the spirit. When you are identified solely with the material, then you will lose yourself in it. Because there's nothing deeper. There's nothing deeper. When there's nothing deeper, it can only get, in a sense, shallower and shallower. And when you take that shallowness to the ultimate extreme, what you end up in is hell. Now, I'm not speaking about this from any religious standpoint. I'm speaking about this from a purely psychological standpoint. But I want to tie this all back. How does this tie into what I was talking about in the beginning, right? Starting out as a very anxious, insecure, just unhappy person who was trying to figure out how to make this life meaningful and how to make it worthwhile. And not merely just settle for a life that's mediocre, but figure out how to create a life that I was actually in love with. These are the kinds of realizations it led me to. And specifically, to tie it back into your body, there's a mindset shift that happens here. And that mindset shift, when you stop doing things because you need something, you need to satiate this deep unhappiness inside of you, when you replace that with realizing that is the whole trap, and that if you're already an unhappy person, wealth and success will only amplify that unhappiness. But if you are already a happy person, then wealth and success will amplify who you already are. The things you have in life or do not have in life only amplify who you already are. And so much of our suffering comes from trying to change the outer world, or trying to change our bodies, trying to change how we look, right? Whether it's how we look physically or how we look in social status, how we look financially. The shift goes from, I'm trying to change myself because I am fundamentally insecure and I want to hide that from the world by trying to make myself significant and feel important, to I already know that I am the answer I'm looking for, and that answer is within myself. So you go from trying to get into better shape, when we apply this to fitness and our bodies, because I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm too skinny, I'm unattractive, I'm unconfident, you go from trying to cover up your insecurities to training because you love yourself, training because it's fun, training because this is who I am, training because I am the kind of person who's already happy. I am the kind of person who's already at peace with themselves. I am the kind of person who's fit. And when you act out of that identity, what are the actions and behaviors of that person? Well, they would lift weights. They would move their body. They would eat for nourishment and enjoyment. Because when you change your frame of mind of how you see yourself, the behaviors automatically start aligning with the identity. The behaviors and the thoughts and the beliefs under one identity. So a lot of times it's not about forcing outcomes to happen in life, because it's funny, a lot of times the harder you force, the harder you push, the harder life resists, right? Think about water. If you just gently, very gently move your hand through water, right? It's very easy. But the harder you try to push against water, the more resistance it acts against you. Exact same idea. What if, instead of constantly trying to be in a fight against life, what if we moved with it instead? What if we were gentle with it? What if we flowed with the moment rather than trying to push against it? I'll leave you with that today. Kind of a spontaneous video. If you joined in and watched until now, I hope you got good value out of it. Until next time, see you in the next one. Peace.